Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. Today, by request, kind of a goofy request, RJ from the Fourth Age requested this. Why? Because we were goofing around. We are talking about the Malcolm comics with Batman and Wolverine being mushed together, and that's part of his creative process for creating his own characters in his comic book, The Valiant Heroes, which I showcased. You could check it out, and you could go to Indiegogo. I'll put a link in the description to pick up RJ's comics. RJ is a great guy, super intelligent, and a wry sense of humor, which I enjoy. But he said, who would ever mush together two superheroes? And I joked around. I said, well, what about Conan and Ant-Man? We have Conan, the barbarian. And he goes, yeah, you just described the plot to Sword of the Atom. And I was like, oh yeah, you know, it's funny. So I went and I dug out the comic, and here is a video. All right, so we got Sword of the Atom. This is the first appearance of this storyline. Now, of course, it's not the first appearance of the Atom. So this is the Silver Age Atom. The Golden Age Atom was Al Pratt, and he originally started out as a guy with no powers, and he was just a tiny little guy. But apparently, that was like a nickname for short people. They called you like the Molecule or the Atom. So, and he just went out and started fighting crime. Later on, he got superpowers. But that's besides the point, because we're talking about the Silver Age Atom. So with DC, kind of like the first reboot, they restarted all their superheroes. So, you know, we got the Golden Age heroes, we got the Silver Age heroes, and they're different. So this is Ray Palmer. The Golden Age kind of had a little bit more of like a mystical, magical tone to the origins of most of the heroes. I'll say most. But the Silver Age was firmly 1 foot in science fiction. So Ray Palmer becomes the Atom. He discovers this, what is it, white dwarf star fragment matter. And it's super dense, and he could use this magic science to shrink down to the size of an atom. And like Ant-Man, he could retain his mass and weight, so he could get super dense and beat the crap out of you while he's small. What are you gonna do? You ever try to punch a bee? You ain't hitting a bee. I'm sorry, you ain't hitting a bee. So he full strength, so he jumps around and clobbers the hell out of you. He could also jump into a telephone and ride the impulses and travel by fax machine, by telephone, which is kind of cool, kind of innovative. So anyway, he stores the white dwarf star, I don't know why that's difficult for me to say, in his belt, and that's how he controls his shrinking abilities. He's a scientist, like a Reed Richards type. He comes up with inventions. So that'll give you all the background you need in case you don't know about the Atom, Ray Palmer. So here in this series, well, there's no credits on the cover, so we'll talk about the creators when we open the book. But look at that cover. That, riding a frog, fighting a snake. It's pretty cool. This is the kind of stuff comic books were meant for. And I'm trying out my tripod. I used it before, oddly enough, on another RJ request, and it really messed everything up. So let me know if you like this better than, you see, I got two hands free now. Yay. So anybody want burger time? You want a freaky hot dog? What the hell is that mess? If that's food, keep it away from me. What is that, of egg? Oh my God, there's a bun? Okay, the bun looks fine. Pickle guy, a wiener guy. Keep that freak away from me. Okay, so let's look at the indicia. The only thing is I'm so far away, it's hard for me to read. So we got Volume 1, Number 1, September 1983. I think I called it, right? And all the rest of the stuff is doesn't matter. I don't care about that. But again, for those of you who don't know, the indicia is where they keep the legality. So let's just say that there was some sort of lawsuit dispute or copyright dispute. This is, the legalese. This is what the lawyers are going to look at. They're not going to look at the comic book. They get this is the legal stuff. So we got Sword of the Atom, Stormy Passage, conceived by Gil Kane art and Jan Strand script. It's interesting to me that Gil Kane's name is first. So that means that he probably came up with the plot and the outline, and then Jim Strand, the writer, is filling in the dialogue and making it a little bit more, let Gil Kane concern himself with the art, let John Strand concern with the words. The colorist is Tom, I can't even pronounce it, Zucchio, and letterist John Constance. I don't know much about Tom Zucchio. I'm afraid to say. John Constance is a standard Marvel and DC. He's a freelancer who worked for both of them. Just great letter, as you can see, because great letters are not supposed to be noticed. And we got the editors of Dick Giordano and Gil Kane's the editor. I wouldn't have noticed that. And here we got the wonderful Gil Kane signature. All right, so let's look. Gil Kane is just a comic book legend. I don't know what can I say. So we're going into the background of the Atom. You know, his origin. What a great splash page. One of my friends he was telling me he was reading the comic and he was shocked to find out that there was no splash page on the first page. There was no. That's not a law. You don't have to have a splash page. You know, it's kind of tradition to have a splash page. And what is a splash page? Splash page is usually the first, maybe second, sometimes the third page, and it's one panel, and it's kind of like, you know, sucks you in. It sets up the tone. So this is a bizarre splash page in that it's not representation of a story. This is Ray Palmer, and everything that's going on here is his thoughts. He's thinking about that's Jean Loring, his wife, with some sexy clothes. They have the worst relationship of all comic books, and you'll see why. Jeez, you know, you think Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne. What is it about shrinking heroes having bad relationships? Paging Dr. Freud. So look at this wonderful art, just wonderful setup. Just Gil Kane is a master. You know, there's no question. I was about to go off on a rant, and I'm you know, I was going to talk about Image Comics, how they bothered me in the 90s, but why? That just look at it. And notice we got the backgrounds of green, different shades of green, although, you know, slightly different to differentiate the panels. Nice pink shirt you got there. And this is Ray Palmer. He's coming home, and he's like, "Where's Jean? Where's Jean? What's going on?" Well, you know, be careful what you wish for there, Ray. You're gonna find out what Jean's up to. He's going around looking for this beautiful, luxurious scientist apartment. Oh no, what do we got there? She's cheating on him. She's being a hoe for show. And here we got Star Frontiers, role-playing game that was, you know, like a science fiction role-playing game. I just remember it was like Math, the board game. You know, you had to overhaul your ship and do all these equations. I noped out of it. I'd rather play Gamma World or you know, something else. So we got Sergeant Rock selling some toys. I had a few of these as a kid, believe it or not. Believe it or not. You know, I didn't like war comics, but I did like war toys. So look at that. Jean Loring and her apartment. What the wrong with my brain? Her partner from work. They're doing some lovey-dovey in the car, and she's like, "Oh no, that's, you know, what you know, what are you gonna say? You're caught in your head." Worst relationship in comic books. Let me explain. What's to explain? You know, it's gonna make a real crude joke, but you know, RJ requested it, and you know, he's a gentleman. So wonderful artwork, wonderful setup. We know what's going on. You could just see the heartbreak. She's going to bed, and he's just like, I don't know what to do. Classic square-jawed, spit curl superhero. Look at her, you know. So what is he going to do? He's not going to take this sitting down. In fact, he's going to go, and he charters a plane. He's going to South America. Why? He was going to go anyway, but he was going to wait a couple of days, but why wait? He found out that there's a white dwarf star fragment. Jeez, is that difficult for me to say? So he's going to leave. He's going to leave. He's going to go track down this, you know, that's what he needs to power up his size change abilities. And we got some bubble yum. Would you like bubble yum? I would love some bubble yum right now, matter of fact. We got some Gil Kane, beautiful artwork. Just notice there's no super heroics. There's no super heroics. This is just, you know, as of right now, this is a soap opera, you know, and you know, people don't want to hear it, but to be a good superhero comic book, you got to have some good soap opera in there. You know, it you know, just throw a guy in a cape in Days of Our Lives jumping around, and you got a superhero comic, because, you know, it's over the top, it's over dramatic, it you know, it works. So here we look, this crazy looking plane. And what's going on here? You know, as things can only happen in a superhero comic book or a soap opera, he chartered a plane, and unbeknownst to the guy who chartered the flight, these are cocaine smugglers. So there's cocaine on the plane, and he's just like, what's going on? He's, you know, this is a member of the Justice League here. This is a member of the Justice League. So he just gets, what's that called? Pistol whipped. He gets pistol whipped by this guy and thrown to the ground. And then what happens? He ain't going to take this standing still. He uses his atom powers. He shrinks down. And again, How many times do I have to say this? Comic book costumes need to be simple and elegant. Simple and elegant. And look at that costume. This is definition classic, simple and elegant costume. He's jumping up. So keep in mind, he's 6 inches tall, but he retains his density and his strength. So, and Ray Palmer keeps himself in good shape. Wasn't good enough for Gene Loring, but that's a whole other story. So he's going to beat the crap out of these guys. So just beating the crap out of them. And what happens? Unfortunately, when you beat up the pilots of an airplane and then smash them through the door, what happens? The airplanes they tend to get hit by lightning, and he gets thrown from the plane. Now keep in mind, he has like what do they call it? The uncertainty principle. So he's Schrodinger's mass. So he's small enough to float down, but heavy enough to beat the crap out of people. It's a superhero, magic science. What do you want me to say? So he's flowing down on an air currents. So he's surviving this airplane crash. He makes a big splash, kind of like Jan Brady. She wore the glasses with Ron Glass. He's gonna make a splash. Roger Glass, rather, not Ron Glass. That's the guy from Barney Miller. But anyway, he washes up on shore. What's wrong? Old references. So he damaged the belt. So he's stuck at 6 inches tall. And look at this menacing. So now the adventure begins. Page 14. That's cool. It's a 4-issue miniseries. It took 13 pages to set up. So almost I guess like a third of the first issue to set up the drama, the stakes, and now he's stuck in the jungle. His costume's already ripping, because it got to fit the jungle setting, and fighting the snake. And lo and behold, another coincidence, he meets a village of people that are 6 inches tall in the heart of the Amazon jungle. So he's fighting the snake. He's showing off his powers. These yellow flesh-colored humanoids that live in the tiny undiscovered hidden village. I keep talking about the trope of the hidden village is not just Wakanda, it's everywhere. And they're taking them in. Why not? Putting them in chains. They just saw him fight a snake, though. How ungrateful. So now they're talking to this guy's, look at that scowl. Wonderful artwork. Wonderful artwork. Just wonderful. Bill Cosby says, if you can't send money, you donate to Bill Cosby, he'll send you a drink. What do you want me to say? Superman 3, what is, Atari game? Wow. Is an Atari game. Look at that. Anybody play that? I sure didn't. So look at this city. Nobody's ever seen this city before. This 6 inches tall, so that's got to be what, 12 feet tall or so? But whatever. Nobody saw it. It's the Amazon jungle. And he's taken in chains into the basically barbarian city. And what do we got here? Sexy barbarian chicks. You cannot have a sword and sorcery. Yeah, I guess this is sword and science, right? Sword and science. I'm calling it sword and science. In this hidden city without a sexy barbarian chick. Look at that. I forgive me if I don't say her name, but it's one of those. Fantasy names will be the death of me. I can't pronounce these fantasy names. Look at this face. I could rave and rave and rave and rave about Kane all night long, but my mouth won't let me. My mouth wants to continue on. So he breaks out of the chain, showing that he could have broken out at any time. He was just being good, and he's fighting a ruin. I take it back. He didn't break out. Oh, I'm dropping everything. And I'm not starting over, guys. I'm not starting over. My enthusiasm got carried away. So he's beating the crap out of him with the chains. Look at this. Again, we don't need no stinking backgrounds. Little cheat over here. He did a lot of the backgrounds at the beginning of the comic. And I think this is the kind of stuff, focusing on the battle and everything like that. Your mind's not going to miss the background. But at the beginning, when it's nice and mundane, when it's in a house, you need the backgrounds. The more exciting the location, the more action. You don't need, look at this. Do you need the background there? No, it's red. It's scary. It's violent. The red, it works. They get thrown into this dungeon, and now they're forced to work together. And here we got the vigilante. Great costume design. Unfortunately, they did it by half measures, if you ask me, meaning that they kind of wimped out in the violence factor. They wanted him to be the Punisher, but they didn't. They wimped out. Here we have Meanwhile. What is Meanwhile? It's the same as the Bolton Bulletins. It's DC's in-house news. written by Dick Giordano. And I take it back. This is Bob Rozakis. All right. Oh no, this was Dick Giordano, and this was Bob Rozakis. And then they're chopped, they're trained, they're trapped, they're chained, and here come the rats. And the rats, oh, just look at that guy's face. And meanwhile, G. Lauren wakes up. They said the police say that the plane crashed, and we found Ray's wedding band. So she's assuming the worst, that he died. So here we got an action pin-up over here, riding a frog, attacking the snakes. Just glorious. Action pin-up. And then we got prizes and cash. Create a monster. Look at that. Create a monster. In the back cover, we got some Intellivision, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. I played that. It didn't look like that. It looked like dots and everything. Right now, it seems like 8-bit pixel art is coming back. Why? I couldn't stand it back then. So here we go. This was a little bit of a glare, so I'll lift this up. We got Sword of the Atom. This was the first of a 4-issue series, and then I think there was 2 like big one-shots. And then I think he got out of this town or this city and went back to normal. So this was just like remember, comic books do this all the time. They change up the status quo and establish a new, and then people go crazy. Like, not to change the subject, I think it's a similar topic, but does anybody remember Spider-Man? Dan Slott did the Superior Spider-Man. I loved it. A lot of people didn't like it. I love the Superior Spider-Man because I knew Dr. Octopus wasn't going to be Spider-Man forever. It was just a little change up, kind of, in the similar vein as well, this was horrible. The Angel Punisher. Anybody remember that series? Oh, they don't even reference that. That was garbage. And then they did Frankencastle, where the Punisher became Frankenstein. I knew they weren't going to stay with them. They were just fun little diversions, to change things up a little while, either drum up controversy or try something different, see what sticks. So I think Gil Kane just liked the idea of doing a sword and sorcery comic, even though I'm calling this one sword and science, just to be tongue in cheek. But I thought it was fun. It worked. There was stakes, and then when it ran its course, they ended it. Kudos for trying. I thought it was fun. Just like when Thor turned into a frog. We knew Thor wasn't going to stay a frog. We also knew that Beta Ray Bill wasn't going to stay Thor, but it was a fun story, fun switcher up. And that's what this is. This is a fun switch up. So there you go. Thanks a lot for requesting it, RJ. This is bringing back memories. I enjoyed this run. I thought it was fun. Matter of fact, this was my first Atom comic that I bought. I keep saying that I didn't buy DC Comics until the Crisis on Infinite Earth. This is like 3 years before the Crisis on Infinite Earth, but I picked this up. I don't know if I know what it was. It was it's wonderful artwork, and I've always liked the Atom. For some reason, my older brother who bought comic books, he was into the Flash, and he had me convinced that the Atom was the Flash's sidekick. So, he was my big brother, I was a little brother, I was the Atom for a little while. I'm talking like I'm 4 years old around there. And there you go. So I have a little bit of an emotional tie to the Atom. So when I saw this, I picked it up. Number 1 of the Atom, it was important. But there you go. Thanks a lot. I'll see you tomorrow with another video. I'm going to do Sunday Comics this Sunday at 10 Eastern Standard Time a.m. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to break out the 6-issue series of Man of Steel by John Byrne. And that's what I'm going to talk about Sunday. And that'll be Sunday. And keep in mind, next Wednesday, what is it, the 22nd, I'll be talking to Fabrizio Aiello about his wonderful comic, Horace H. Hoover, which is difficult for me to say because there's something wrong with my mouth. All right, see you guys. Thanks a lot for requested videos. And guys, I haven't said it in a while. I appreciate you guys. I say this is getting fun and funner and funner, and then it goes up again. So, every day this is getting better and better. Thank you so much. I don't know what else to say. If you would, I got a couple of people lined up. I'm going to try to do Wednesday nights live chats with people, but I don't have an infinite lineup. I don't care if you're just a fan or if you just like comic books. My friend Pete was on. He never did comic books. If you like comic books and you have something you want to talk about, email me at johnslongbox@yahoo.com. And, we'll why not? you know, it's just guys talking about comic books, or gals, whoever wants to talk about comic books. And not this Wednesday. This Wednesday is February. The following Wednesday, I'm going to be talking about Martina. I'm going to be talking with Martina Markova, Lady Alchemy, about her fun comic, Lady Alchemy. So there you go. There's all the news that's fit to print. Let me know if you like this tripod. I don't know how I feel about it. I kind of liked having the phone so I could zoom in on stuff. I find this is kind of static, but, you know, I kind of got a bunch of criticisms about being too shaky, and, you know, I don't want to make anybody motion sickness. And I broke out my old microphone because it stopped working, but I think I figured out what was wrong with it. So let me know, is the tripod working out for you? And does the sound quality sound better? Let me know, because I'm deaf. I work at an airport, and the planes are just destroying my ears. So I don't know. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.